We're off. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Tuesday, February 13th of 2024, and we are convening a session of the Tax Review Board. My name is Melissa Andre. I'm the Executive Director, and it is my responsibility to let everybody know to please be aware that this is a public hearing and it is being recorded. Because the meeting is public, participants and viewers have no expectation of privacy, and by continuing to be in this meeting, you are consenting to being recorded. This recording will be put on the Tax Review Board website. Additionally, today's category is real estate. At this time, I want to note that we have all of our board members. Paula Weiss is the chair, Nancy Cameradiner, George Matthews, Ryan Boyer, and John O'Connor are our board members. At this time, I'm going to pass it over to our chair. Paula.
Old habit.
Really.
Everyone, session of the Tax Review Board for February 13th, 2024 is in session. Before we move into the cases that we're here today, I want to announce that 3 of the cases on the docket have already been continued. And those are, Melissa, you're going to have to help me with one of them. Case
Sure.
number 2, which is for Penn Center owner. I cannot see the docket number because of the writing on my sheet.
So the docket number is 36 REREF DQHVZC.
Okay, so that matter has been continued. Item number 4 on our agenda, Charmaine Prater has previously been continued. Last 4 digits of the docket 4866. And item number 5 on the agenda, Craig L. Thorpe, last 4 digits 3980 have been continued. So we're going to move to the remaining cases, which are labeled 1, 3, and 6 on the docket. Number 1 being DY Properties LLC. Last 4 digits of the docket 3847. Case number 3, YM Property Management LLC. Last 4 digits of the docket 3652. And case number 6, which is YM Property Management LLC additionally, but the last 4 digits of that docket are 3827. And they are all related cases. The petitioners are in our hearing room. And I'm going to ask them to please identify themselves for the record.
Joseph Meir.
Could you please spell your name, last name?
Meir, M-E-I-R.
Okay, Mr. Mayor. And who is with you?
I'm Gilad Eliada. I'm the company manager. G-I-L-A-D.
I'm sorry, could you please spell that?
G-I-L-A-D.
Okay, Mr. Gila, do each one of you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give these matters will be the truth?
I do.
Yes.
We're going to turn to the city to hear from Mr. Scavuzzo and to get the numbers on the record as to what is actually outstanding before we come back to you. Mr. Scavuzzo, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone. These are 3 cases in which we were asked to essentially kind of provide an accounting based upon the submission of the taxpayers in this matter and what the city's records are. I'm prepared to go through each of them individually. I kind of have an overarching thing I wanted to say, but if maybe we could have Ms. Schultz read the numbers into the record first, and then I can kind of proceed, if that makes sense.
That would be fine. Good afternoon, Ms. Schultz. Please state your name, position for the record, and spell your last name.
My name is Kristen Schultz. It's K-R-I-S-T-I-N. Last name Schultz, S-C-H-U-L-T-Z, and I am with the Department of Revenue.
You swear from the testimony you're about to give in these matters will be the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Do you want to give us each property
Sure.
right now, and then we'll come back to Mr. Scavuzzo for a whole picture.
I'm doing to start, I guess, with the first one, which is for 901-07 West Tioga. Yes.
Go.
So on the actual petition, the petition was for the year 2021. The tax principal is $453.30. The interest is $200.61. The penalty is $208.04. The lien is $91.45. Legal fees are $81.59 for a total of $1,034.99.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to move on to case number 3, which is 1025 Rising Sun.
Okay, and that petition is for the year 2020. The tax principal is $1,675.87. Interest is $502.97. Penalty is $295.19. The lien is $91.45. Legal fees, $459.53. For a total of $3,025.01.
And we're going to drop down to case number 6, which, hold on a second, I gotta find it. Was that 5715R-65 Bingham Street?
Correct, yes. The petition is for the year 2021, and there is currently a credit of $18.53 for that year.
Okay, so then the numbers that you have given us based on the petition years are what are currently open balances. Is that correct?
Yes, correct, yeah. Well,
you.
there's some other years for some of them that are open, but that's what was on the year that was on the petition.
Right, and those are currently open balances.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to turn back to Mr. Scafuzzo for an opening statement and some clarification, we hope.
Yes. So, and I think like the way we should frame this from the beginning, maybe is through a refund mindset versus an interest and penalty waiver mindset, because essentially what has happened here is that the two property owners separately and this is, I'm going to be speaking for all 3 of the properties broadly, and then we can go through them specifically. There was a situation in which each of them had delinquent real estate taxes, and they entered into payment agreements with city outside counsel, with 2 with GRB and 1 with Linebarger, and then 4 back taxes. And then over the course of a couple of years, they made payments in which they've documented and submitted to the tax review board, in which I have reviewed on those. In most situations, they followed the payment agreement terms, but in some situations, and which is why we have issues, they didn't necessarily pay a coupon to the outside counsel, which is sort of what has to happen.
What does that mean?
Like, well, GRB gives you 12 payments you have to make over the course of a year. They give you a little coupon voucher. You're supposed to pay GRB. And they did that in a lot of the times. But sometimes they would pay like a bulk payment that went across a couple different properties that they went down to the Department of Revenue themselves to do, and that complicated things. So I'm going to offer what I think are outcomes for the back taxes here based upon my analysis of
I'm sorry, can I say something, please? Because the information you're providing is wrong.
All right, well, you're going to have your turn. This is just his opening explanation from the city side, and then we are going to turn to you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I've really tried to confine myself to the documents that we have, because I feel like otherwise, if I'm just like guessing at what a computer system does, I can't know it. What I did was I looked at each single tax year and each single property about what the payments were supposed to be. And then I looked at what the payment agreements were, which they provided to us, and see what they were supposed to do. Then I compared their payment agreements to the actual payments that the city has a record for. And we'll have, and like, to not bury the lead, I'm essentially going to recommend refunds in each tax year based upon what I think makes sense to kind of square the accounts up a little bit. And I'll walk through each of them. But there's probably some sort of documentation that's missing. There could be explanations. I don't know. What I'm going to be going through again will be all of the documents they submitted, which are a lot of payment receipts, and the city's own records. Outside of those 2 things, it's going to be very difficult for me to guess as to what happened. You know, so that's just, and I can make my recommendation now, or I can go through them, whatever the Madam Chair wants to go through this.
Why don't you go through them? I think that what we really needed from our last hearing was the city's accounting of where did the money go and where do we stand. So it sounds like you've done that work. So why don't you take us?
So I'll start with 4715R through 65 Bingham. Okay. So there's currently, I mean, and Ms. Schultz read what was the petition. But if you look at the account currently, there is, you know, the 23 and 24 taxes are not paid. But there is like little balances for 22, a credit for 21, and a balance for 22. Each has like a couple $100. There were two payment agreements made. In 19 and 20, the owner made all the payments, which totaled $1,053. But based upon their records, I can see $351 are not in our system. Additionally, I see that a payment of $1,791.90 was made right before the payment agreement was made. And that probably screwed everything up and resulted in an overpayment. I'm looking at the account now, and I would recommend that to square up what has happened, there should be a credit of $738.97 issued. But and just to make this as clean and easy as possible, I'd recommend a refund crediting their entire 2023 tax balance of $1,259.82.
So you're recommending a refund of that amount?
Yeah, that would, which would be credited to tax year 2023 and essentially would wipe out that balance.
Can you say that amount one more time? Because if we are going to issue or grant these petitions and issue credits, we have to be really specific for them.
Of course, $1,259.82.
All right, so I go back to the petitioners for a minute. So Mr. Gilad, Mr. Meyer, did you understand that Mr. Scavuzzo is agreeing with you that there's been an overpayment on this and will be recommending a refund or credit in the amount of $1,259.82 for the Bingham Street property?
I do understand, but I have to clarify the few facts. Okay, so we'll be on the same page. Is there two things that it's got to be clear? All the payments we made to GRB was in the same way, always to GRB, and not as he mentioned. We paid
Well,
all to GRB.
Payments were all made on the 2019 and 20 payment agreements were all made, except,
Now, all the payment agreement, the two of them was paid in full, even though they don't find the $350 or whatever. I would suggest, because on our calculation, it's more than $1,270, and I would suggest to do it the easiest, simple way. We have the balance status of each property, and on each year we have proof of payment, and this will be much easier to calculate by the penny how much we pay and how much we not supposed to pay.
well, I think Mr. Scavuzzo has looked at all of those documents.
Excuse me?
I think
No. Okay, well, let me just, I'm sorry.
that he has looked at all of the documents that you provide. I know that at the last hearing, you provided receipts and a narrative, documents, plus he has access, I assume, to the outside counsel information as well. Is that correct, Mr. Scavuzzo?
Okay, I see no problem. As if we take the $1,200, it's be balance, include 2024, it's be around like 2,600, around 1,600. It's going to be balanced. This is what you say? You take the
I recommended only 23.
23. What about the 22? Which is the one for 20? Because 20 you show we pay everything, and the 22, the $100 and the $200 take off for 22 and 19.
For clarification's sake, are we saying that if there's a credit, they would be paid in full up until 2023, the year 2023?
Include 2023.
No, I'm asking the attorney.
Yes, and I suppose that what would functionally need to be in the order. I guess what I'm recommending is the 23 balance gets wiped off, and I suppose what I'm functionally doing is recommending a credit of of the balance between what I see there, which would be $738.97. Because
All right.
there is credits on the account currently. So I am,
You just lost me.
I know.
All right, so let me go back. So you started out with a refund or credit in the amount of $1,259.82.
Yes.
Stop. Now, with that, assuming that was granted, what would the account look like?
It would clean up the back taxes and give them a little bit of a credit into 2024 as well.
But 2024 would still be due.
Yes.
That's what I want. I just want to, like, what's the bottom line here?
Yes.
So is that with a refund or is that with a credit, though? That using that money as a credit?
We'd be using the money on the account as a credit to pay off.
So if the board were to order this, it would be to order a credit on the account of $1,252.82, which would clear up everything from 19, 20, 21, and 22, and cover 23, and then
Yes.
roll over what is left into a credit for 2024.
Yes.
Okay.
And does that include any payment of interest or penalty, or is that just principal?
It would include payment, interest, and penalty. Like the original agreement would include payment of interest and penalty because they were delinquent taxes.
And is there any outstanding legal fee or lien that would also be covered under this?
There, a little bit, yeah.
All right.
Let's
So
see.
we're talking about, what years does this cover now? 2021, 22, 23? Essentially, care of,
Not 2021.
is there no, is there
There's no
anything?
there's no balance on 21.
It's 2022 and 2023
Yeah.
In 2020.
and 2020.
20,
It's-
22.
20, okay, 2020, I'm just trying to get this. All right, so that would be 2020, 2022, 2023. The city is recommending a credit be issued on that property account in the amount of $1,259.82.
Yes.
And that cleans everything up with a little bit, with money then owed just for 2024.
Yes.
Okay, so that's it for that property. We'll come back to you, sir. It's not like we're not gonna let you talk, but I just want to get the city's accounting because that's what we asked for.
Of
Right.
course.
Takes care of Bingham Street. Yes? Mr. Scavuzzo, yes?
Yeah, from my perspective, yes.
Okay, so let's go back, all right, to the next property.
All right. Next one I have here is 901 to 07 West Tioga Street.
Okay,
The delinquent years currently are 19, 20, and 21. Is that it?
Yeah.
okay,
Okay. Starting in November 2021, taxpayers got into an agreement with GRB for tax years 19 through 21. They required a payment of $8,020. My math and their
When payment, was that over the course of the agreement?
that
or
was
was-
that was the terms of the agreement, $8,001.20.
Okay.
It's like the lettered requirement. My review of their receipts and the city's records show an overpayment, a total payment of $9,709.44, which is an overpayment of $1,708.24. To clean up this, I recommend a credit in the amount of $2,755.41, which represents the balance on the 19 through 21.
And a credit in that amount then cleans up 19, 20, 21, and then rolls into 22 and 23?
I
Or
I
20?
paid it. 20, 22, 23, 24, I pay off.
So he could ask for a refund.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it to get him a refund. I'm doing it to zero out the back taxes. And I think that's what I see on the account. I see currently a balance in 21 of $1,034.99. In 2020, I see a balance of $789.15. And in 2019, I see a balance of $931.27. Essentially, what the city is recognizing is that I believe he complied with the terms of the agreement, that they overpaid, and our system indicates, it continued, for some reason, has continued to accumulate interest and penalty and other legal fees. So my recommendation credit is to clear out those back years, and that's the amount in which would do that. This
What
is not
happened? to
doing
the
a-
overpayment? You said there was an overpayment of 1708.24. What happened to that?
I don't know.
Well,
I mean, that's why that's why I can see an error, and I do not know where it went. It was in a payment that was made on several different accounts, and so I don't know what applied when. Yeah.
Can you give me that number again? It's 2,500.
$2,755.41.
and that includes payment of some interest and some penalty amounts.
Yeah.
I'm just asking, I just want to be clear.
And again, it also includes legal fees and,
Yes.
okay.
Okay, the next property, which is,
And again, that's intellectually what that I would like to characterize these as refunds or credits, versus I think that's more or less what we're trying to do. This one is more complicated. 125, 1025 Rising Sun. There was a 2021 agreement on the account in which they were required to pay $5,842.16 to pay off tax year 2020. The record that they've provided and what I see shows a down payment and 4 monthly payments, which totaled $2,997.85. Subsequently, because no payments have been made that I see on that agreement, there's a balance of $3,021.01. Separately,
still
from all
due,
that- what's that?
still due?
So separately, they got like BRT research bills. So they went to the Board of Revision of Taxes, I think, and it changed the balances due on these accounts.
Oh,
So they provided to us research bills that were issued in February of 22. Based on that, the 2021 balance had a credit of $774.25.
I'm sorry, how much was that?
774.25,
Okay,
and a 2022 debt of $3,499.50. That's their documentation. Although I don't have any record of payments being made since April of 22, I see that there was a credit on tax year 22 and tax year 21. There's a credit in 22 for $2,490.21, and a credit in 21 for $14.54. Just to clean it up, again, the city would recommend a credit of $994.75 for tax year 20.
One more time, 994.
0.75. My records indicate, I don't think that based on what I have, I don't see payments totaling what the agreement was for, but these recertification bills have kind of screwed up the process. So it's difficult for me to account what was supposed to happen when.
So if you're recommending a credit of $994.75, what happens to the credit you just told us is on the 2022 year for 2490.21?
I'm asking for the 994.75 to be issued to essentially zero out the rest of the back taxes.
What years are those?
We are on, sorry, just making sure. We're on, no, we're on rising. 2020 is the only year with back taxes on it. So it would be the credits that exist on the account plus the credit I am recommending to clear out the 2020 balance.
Well, how much is due for 2020?
Currently, there's a balance of $3,025.
But 994 and 2490.
25, and there's a 1454 in there too.
Right.
Is that math wrong?
But isn't that all more than what you just said the 2020 amount due is?
If you take, is there something else? Let's see.
That more like 34, it's more like 3,500. And you're saying 3,025 is due.
Something else I'm missing. Let's see. If you give me a second, I can redo that math. I'm getting the same math, so what am I doing wrong? Okay, so the debt is not. Okay, I'm subtracting it from the wrong number. It should be subtracted from 3025.01. Okay. So that would be $520.26.
Yeah, something like that. And that's excess.
That would be the balance that'd be a credit that would clear out the rest of the back taxes.
What back taxes?
2020. There's no excess.
How could there not? You just told us
Sorry.
$3,025 is due on 2020. Is that not correct?
That's correct.
And you just told us that there's a credit on 2022 of 2490 and a credit on 2020 of 994.75.
99D, that number was the number I was recommending that we credit. And that number's wrong. That math is wrong.
That number is wrong.
That's the number that, yeah. So the two credits that exist on the account for 2022 currently, not what I'm recommending, what's currently there, are for 22, 2490.21. What currently exists on 21 is $14.54. So I'm proposing a credit that would be the 2020 balance minus the 2022 credit and the 2021 credit.
And what would be due?
The credit would be for $520.26, which would make $0 due. for the back taxes that are under the petition.
Okay. Okay. Anything else?
No.
Okay. All right, we're going to turn to the petitioners. You've heard the city's explanation for each property and their recommendations for each property. So can we take each property one at a time? You want to make just a general statement, and then if you want to respond to each property, that would probably be the most helpful for this board.
Okay, for the first two properties, we agree.
I'm sorry, for
The first two property, Tioga, 901 West Tioga, and
Yes.
Benjamin, and we agree. The last.
agree.
property-
Okay, wait, hold on. We don't want to get confused, and if we could get something off of our plate, I think we should. So for case, you said for the Tioga property?
Yeah, we agree.
Okay, so if we agree, then the board should decide on that case right now.
Okay. I mean,
The only sort of
One more.
point I would make, and the board can certainly free to consider it, whatever. The city has gone into this sort of accepting on good faith that some of the gaps in information, I'm kind of leaning in their favor, right? Like I'm saying, like, I think that we should just, like, my mission on this, based on what I see and what happens, and my knowledge of sometimes how our computer systems work, is that I think we should clean up these back taxes. I'm sort of,
So if they're willing to accept your proposals, we're going to take on faith that this is all going to get, that this will all be zeroed out for these two properties and resolved for these tax years.
what I'm saying, and like they're accepting that for the two, what I'm sort of saying, and this isn't an offer, this is just the city's position, is that, you know, I'm doing, like the last one, the math doesn't, for me, work as well, and I'm sort of just taking it on good faith, and I'm kind of crediting them for that. So I suppose my position is, the mission should be to clean up these back taxes, let's just do that. I would rather you not just take two, and then let's fight about the other one, because I feel like for the third one, the city is giving in more. That's my position. We should all handle these together. But you know, the board's obviously free to do what it wants.
All right, well then, you know what, Melissa, let's hear what the petitioners
Okay.
need to say about the third property. So, so you're agreeing with Bingham Street, you're agreeing with Tioga Street. What do you want to tell us about Rising Sun?
Rising Sun is like a little bit more he's supposed to give me, because he didn't give me all the other, he didn't give me the penalty, or maybe he gave me the $500 for the instant. And he gonna let you know better what you have to do, because.
okay. First of all, the other two properties is come very close to our numbers, sometimes more, sometimes less, so it's kind of fair enough to cut the whole area. The issue with the Rising Sun, it's the reason, and he's right. You see, he saw only 4 payments, which is true, because when we came to do the payments with GRB, the manager of the company clearly told us, stop paying, you have credit to your account, let me talk to the city, we find out what's going on. So repeatedly every month, we did a follow-up with her, and it's kept going to another month and another month. In the meantime, and I also told her, listen, we don't want to be in a situation that over the time, we're going to find paying interest, penalty, more others and stuff like that. And she said, don't worry, I'm going to handle it. It's going to take some time. In the meantime, the interest and penalty start to grow and grow and grow. And we want to understand, why would we have to pay all this interest, penalty and others when we are on the payment until they told us, stop, let us check what's going
You
on.
say stop. Who told you stop?
The manager of GRB, the manager of,
That's fine. I got it. Go ahead. All right, so that's so you're really concerned about how the interest and penalty has accrued when you were following, your testimony is you were following directions.
exactly.
But-
So,
But Paula, I think it would help me, because he said that the last two were very close. What is your gap on the last property, Rising Sun? What is your gap between your number and the city's number? I just want to see how far we are apart.
the interest, the penalty, and the other. That's the difference I see. Because the credit is a credit, and interest, penalty, and others, since we were on time until they told us to stop,
So how much?
It's like
500, 295, and 1,000.
1,000, and another $75.
Say that again?
Like around like it's around like what's it, 1,400, 1,800,
It's about
and like and plus $100.
And forget about
Like
21,
90,
which
like
we
$1,800.
and I'm not mentioning 21, which we paid which we paid in full, and forget about those interests which we paid already twice.
Around 1,800.
Only
Paid
for
it twice.
2020, only for 2020, it's about $1,800, interest penalties and other, and this is something we shouldn't pay.
All right, so hold on a second. Let me ask a question. Ms. Schultz, could you look at on Rising Sun Avenue, could you look at the 2020 tax year and tell us how much interest has been booked and how much penalty has been booked as paid?
If you could just give me a second, I have to click around.
Sorry.
That's okay. Because this is some older converted data now.
And yeah, and that was the other issue too. We've had two different accounting systems for this. The agreements were made over different periods of time, so they were documented differently. So which is not
Understand
helpful.
the technology challenges, yes, we.
Yes. It was very helpful that they provided a bunch of receipts.
Yes, no?
So yeah, I don't deal with payments too much anymore, so I'm trying to figure it
I don't know, Mr. Scavuzzo, do you have
with
those?
the,
Let me see.
it look like there's,
It's a little harder to say. Maybe for 20, I could say.
it's 21. right?
Oh, maybe.
X.
Maybe. Let's see.
Is this going to be possible?
I think I can figure it out. Yeah. I just don't see it being credited to the interest and penalty. That's what I'm saying. I see it going to the principal. And I see an accumulated interest of $502.97 and an accumulated penalty of $295.19. But I think that's what you would just see if you looked at the account for those years.
Give me those numbers again.
502.97 of interest. 295.19 of penalty.
And then there's lien fees and legal fees.
Yep,
Can you see those?
yep.
Good.
Yep, yep. See.
$1,008.26.
What did he say?
$1,008.26.
And what is that number that you're telling me? I can't see that. Tell me what the column is.
It's like I say other.
Other, okay.
Yeah, that's what I see as well.
Okay, so those are the liens. Does that combine lien and legal?
Yes.
Well, that works. That's $1,800. Give or take $1.
So if you fashioned it like that, it would clean up the balance and give them a little bit of a. It would go into the, we're not tackling, I don't think 2023 is paid, so that would just kind of give them a credit into 2023. Oh, or maybe not. No, I might be incorrect. I might be confusing my accounts. No, 23 is outstanding, so yeah.
Okay, so, Mr. Scavuzzo, did you have anything else you wanted to present?
Nope.
No. All right, I'm gonna turn to Mr. Mira and Gilad. Did you have anything else you wanted to tell us?
I just want to know exactly what did you say you're going to give us credit again? You're going to give us the $2,000
Which, property?
for the same property, Rising Sun. What we're supposed to get now after?
How much gonna look the
The
account?
board hasn't made a decision on that yet.
Oh, okay,
Okay.
all right.
So do we need to step back then and,
I think he was asking for his proposal because we went through all the numbers and he agreed with his money. I think that's what he wants to know. The 1,800 and whatever it was, that he's gonna give him credit for that, and that'll clean up 23, and you'll have a small credit. That's what I heard. Am I correct, Ms. Scooby?
That's right, Mr. Bohr.
all right,
So
So-
is that?
I want to ask the petitioner if he agrees with Mrs. Scooby proposal that he will credit you the 1,800 that you said. It'll knock out 23 and you'll have a small balance, and that way we can have agreement on all 3 properties if you agree with that.
Thank you. Yes.
does that work for you, sir?
Yes, please. Yes.
All right, so then we have agreement on all 3 properties based on Mr. Scavuzzo's presentation. Yes? Okay, so, in that situation, Melissa, are we better with a no action needed here?
No, no,
a-
the board has to issue the decision. And
All right, so
specifically
then,
say how much each account should be credited for.
All
I
right.
agree with that. I agree with that.
okay, I want to make sure we do this correctly.
So we do it once.
So for 1025 Rising Sun, there was an agreement that the credit of, I have $1,869.19. And that is me adding the 520 plus the interest, penalty, and lien fees. But please, somebody correct me if I'm wrong on my math.
Includes the $24.90. For it, them getting. I'm sorry.
Well, but the full, for Rising Sun, the full offer or the full recommendation is the 2020 balance gets zeroed out with
And the
existing,
2023.
and then 2023, we move those credits forward.
I think the 1,800 whatever dollar would accomplish that based on the existing credits on the account.
Okay, but it gets but the credit is that dollar number that then moves into 2023.
Yes.
So that's, all right, so that's 1025 Rising Sun. Let's do one at a time. So both city and petitioner agree to that. I need the board members to concur that this decision will be issued, based on that recommendation for an
Brian
adjustment.
Boyer, I concur once Melissa gets the right language.
Thank you.
So our decision is going to be that the tax review board is going to direct that, and adjustments in those amounts that we just read are going to be, are going to occur on this account. Paula Weiss, I concur.
Nancy Cameron, I concur.
And John? You're muted. We lost, John is there, but he's muted.
John O'Connor, I concur.
Thank you.
And
And then-
did you get me, since George and I talked together?
Yes, I have both of you.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to double check.
All right, so the first property is 901-07 West Tioga Street. The decision will be the same. The board is going to issue decisions based on the recommendations of the city for the years, I guess it's 2019 to 2021. And
What was
that
that amount again? $755, no. Say that again. I think $2,755.41.
41 cents.
Correct.
And that will zero out those tax years 2019, 20, and 21.
Yes,
Yeah, Mr. Scuvillo, jump in if we didn't get this.
that's
All right,
right.
get concurrence from my members.
Ryan Boy, I concur.
John O'Connor, I concur.
Nancy Camerediner, I concur.
George Matthews, I concur.
Paula Weiss, I concur. And then we're going to move to 40, what is it? Goodness, what's the address? Bingham Street.
4715 R through 65.
Bingham Street. And, all right,
Credit
this is
to
for the
be
tax years 2020, 2022, and 2023. The city has recommended a credit of $1,259.82, which will then zero out those tax years as well. Correct, Mr. Scavuzzo?
It doesn't zero out 23. It zeroes out.
That's what I want to get. It
Oh,
zeroes out-
wait. It does. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
then that will zero out 2020, 2022, 2023. All right, concurrence from the board members?
John O'Connor, I
Ryan Boy, I
concur.
concur.
All right, John,
Nancy
Ryan,
Camerediner, I concur.
George Matthews, I concur.
Paula Weiss, I concur. So I think that then concludes this case, these three matters. You will get letters from the tax review board with these decisions within about 2 weeks. Mr. Scavuzzo, how do they then confirm that all of this has occurred?
It hits their, Department of Revenue complies with the letters, and they can check it out on their
Tax center
the
account?
tax center. Yeah.
Or could you provide your email to them
Sure.
so that
Sure.
if they really have a question or can't figure it out, you'll be able to direct them where to see it or to confirm that all of this has occurred?
Yep. You guys ready?
Yes.
It's my first name, Samuel, Samuel. Scavuzzo.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Sure. S as in Sam, A as in Apple, M as in Michael, U as in umbrella, E as in elevator, L as in lollipop. I feel like I'm talking I'm like doing this for my children. Scavuzzo, S as in Sam, C as in Charles, A, V as in Victor, U, Z as in zebra, Z as in zebra, O as in octopus. At phila.gov, PHILA. You kind of see it on the screen too if you look at it, but.
All right.
But it's Samuel. It's my full first name.
Okay, any other business for the board right now?
I just want to clarify, I'm sorry, I just want to make these decisions
ahead.
right, since I have to put them in. For 1025 Rising Sun, a credit of $1,869.69 to be credited to the account to zero out tax year 2020 and provide a credit to tax year 2023. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
Did you want to confirm the others or you got?
Sure, that would make me feel a lot better. For 901 West Tioga, credit to be issued $2,755.41 to zero out tax balance on years 19, 20, and 21.
Yes.
Okay, and then the last one is Bingham Street, credit to be issued of $1,259.82 to zero out tax years 20, 22, and 23.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you,
Oh.
everyone, for your patience and math class.
And that concludes the business of the board. We are adjourned. Thank you all very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Mr. Casuza.
Thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you. You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Bye.
Hang on a second. I
Sure.
gotta- Where will Nunc Pro Tuncs be if I make it in tomorrow?
I will be here tomorrow, but if I am not,